Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today we have with us Professor Ahmad, and he is going to talk about Laylatul Qadr. In this holy month of Ramadan, inshallah, we will enlighten ourselves. And we are coming towards the final leg of Ramadan, the last 10 days. So it's also good. It's Laylatul Qadr. Inshallah will fall within the last 10 days. So if we have a better insight to Laylatul Qadr, inshallah, we'll be able to practice better during this month of Ramadan. So with that, I'd like to introduce the Dr. Ahmad. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala khatimil anbiya. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have been asked to share with you very briefly in the meaning of the night of power or the night of destiny, which the Quran calls Laylatul Qadr. We'll try to look into its meaning in the next few minutes, and I will try to confine my discussion to not a long discourse, therefore allowing more and more time for our usual interaction. I understand it's only by our mutual understanding and interaction that we develop proper understanding of the Quran. I will recite a very short surah where this night of power is mentioned. And then we'll try to look into 5 brief sentences given in this surah that relate and explain to us the meaning of this important subject. It is Surah 97 of the Quran. It begins, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, wa ma adraka ma Laylatul Qadr, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr, tanazzalu al-malaikatu war-ruhu fiha bi-idhni rabbihim min kulli amr, salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. The translation of the meaning as rendered by Marmadus Call is following. Lo, we revealed it on the night of power. And what will convey unto thee what the night of power is? The night of power is better than 1,000 months. The angels and thy spirits descend therein by the permission of their Lord with all decrees. That night is peace until the rising of dawn. We find slight variation in the meaning of Arabic terms as used in the Quran. Therefore, in some translations you will find night of destiny, in others night of power. And we will see in next few minutes how does it relate with the overall meaning of the night of power or night of destiny. Perhaps it might be appropriate to say a few words about its background. As you will see in any of the translation of the Quran, right in the beginning it is mentioned where that particular surah or message was revealed. And that indicates usually either most of it or all of it revealed in that place. And these are essentially 2 places, Makkah and Medina. You know very well that the Quranic revelation began in Makkah, where the Prophet ﷺ was living early part of his life. It was in 40th year of his prophethood that first revelation was given to him. This short surah and our reference to night of destiny or night of power relates with this specific event, how and when the Quran was revealed. And that's what makes this night a night of destiny. As I was saying, most of the Quran is revealed either in Makkah or in Al-Madinah. This surah, Surah Al-Qadr, according to majority of Muslim scholars and Sahaba, was revealed in Makkah, though there are some opinions that it is first surah which was revealed in Medina. If we look into the arrangement of the earlier surah and this surah, it has an indirect indication that while the earlier surah Al-Alaq talks about the first 5 sentences, messages, statements revealed to the Prophet peace be upon him for the first time, this surah reinforces that. And therefore the general understanding of Muslim scholars is that it was definitely revealed in Makkah. Now the surah touches on 5 very important aspects, and these 5 aspects make the night of power or the night of destiny significant for not only Muslims but for the humanity. The Quran did not come simply for Muslims. It came for the whole of humanity. And these 5 very simple points are, first and foremost, the ayah relates directly with the Quran. Its subject is the Quran. Therefore it begins by saying, lo, we revealed it on the night of power. The force and flow of sentence is not on night of power, but on the Quran. This is the book, this is the message which was revealed. If you look carefully into the structure of the sentence, you will find that it says that we revealed it. Therefore, telling us in very simple and direct manner, in the night of power, it was not that someone was meditating, pondering, thinking, composing, and coming out with some composition which was claimed to be the Quran. But it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of universe and mankind, the most powerful, who in a destiny-making and event-making situation revealed this message. And that's what makes the Quran as subject of this night of power, night of destiny, or this shorter surah of the Quran. Secondly, this night of power refers to the origin or source of the Quran. Thirdly, it refers to the historicity of the Quran. Fourthly, it refers to the uniqueness of the Quran. And fifthly, it refers to the impact of the Quran. These 5 things make the night of power a unique time in the history of mankind. I'll try to share with you very briefly these 5 aspects that in my humble view are the essence of this surah and essence of the night of power. First statement which comes in this surah is, verily we have sent it down on the night of power or destiny. Which means that the Quran is declaring the source of Quranic origination is firstly external and not internal. You go and look into so many of the world scriptures, so many of the books which claim they are divine, so many of the literature which say they have a unique influence on people. And when you ask, who is the writer of this scripture? Who is the composer of this poetry? Who has created this literature? You find out that there are certain internal experiences which are involved. A poet, a dramatist, an author, a short story writer, a novelist, sitting in a situation where got inspired by a given situation and starts flowing out, starts speaking up ideas, understanding, expressions, elaborations. Therefore, most of literature, most of poetry, most of so-called scriptures, they are always associated with individuals. Who is the author of Tao Te Ching, the book taken as a kind of sacred literature by Taoists? Lao Tzu. Who is the originator of Analects, the beautiful wisdom and words contained in the Buddhist scripture? You find out this is the Kapali Vusta, Bodhisattva, or you find so many other names. Who are the authors of the 27 books of the New Testament? You find each book carrying the name of the author, telling you who was inspired and who wrote it. The Quran in this surah comes up and says, the source of inspiration is not within. The source of revelation is from without. Therefore, it prefers to use the word revelation or wahi and not simply inspiration. Revelation coming from external agency, and that agency is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ayah says, verily we have sent it down. Not saying that we have blessed it, we have inspired it, we have led it to be given by Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Therefore, the Quran is kalam or a speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not an inspiration verbalized and given by the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So, the first sentence which makes a reference to night of power or night of destiny is actually making it explicit. The subject of this surah is not just night of power, but the subject is Quranic revelation. Revelation coming from whom, coming to whom, coming for what. And that's why we find in the next few very brief statements all these details put in a very compact manner. Secondly, we find that the following sentence, or this sentence says, Inna anzalnahu. Anzalnahu referring to the book. Now that's where we find again a reference to night of power, or the one who is most powerful. It is only the one who is most powerful can send a message in one single instant or in a period broken in time. When the Quran is saying it was revealed in the night of power, we find Muslim scholars and Sahaba coming up with two very simple understandings. First, it refers to the book. Therefore, it is in the night of power that the whole of Quran has been sent down to humanity. Not just one ayah, not just 5 ayahs, not just one surah, but the whole of the Quran, which contains 114 surahs of varying size and depth. So the first view holds that the whole of Quran was sent down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to somewhere in heaven. And in other place the Quran says it was given in Law al-Mahfuz, the most protected sacred tablet. So they say it is maintained in heaven, coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then according to each individual situation, bits and parts were sent down to the Prophet ﷺ. Second interpretation refers to the very ayah or the very surah that in the night of power, Surah Al-Alaq was revealed, first 5 sentences indicating the beginning of revelation. Revelation began with first 5 sentences, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, khalaqal insana min alaq, Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram, alladhi allama bil qalam, allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. These 5 sentences of Surah Al-Alaq, or the surah which precedes Surah Al-Qadr, or the surah of destiny and power, were the first sentences, first statements given to the Prophet. So second view says when the Quran tells us it was revealed, it's referring to these 5 sentences or the beginning of the process of revelation. With this brief elaboration of the first sentence, let us come to second point, which refers to the historicity of the Quran. The Quran is a book which does not contain any mythology. The Quran is a book which does not contain any speculation. The Quran is a book which does not have any ambiguity and confusion, but it deals with very specific subject, it deals with specific situation, and it provides specific guidance. But how do we know that this is a historic book? How do we know that this book was actually revealed and what we have today is the same which was revealed? If we look again into world religions, we find there is hardly one single text claimed by followers of any faith which can come up with a claim of historicity. Most of the writings for the Hindus are essentially writings done in a mythical time for which no one knows who were authors. There is anonymity for any book that exists in Hinduism. You name the book, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Puranas, you name any single aspect of the scripture, and none of the Hindu scholars and philosophers come up and tell us so and so is the author, and at that time it was revealed. You look into the Buddhist scripture and you find the earliest records we have is that of around 400 years after the death of Buddha. First collections were put together, and those who later on were converted into different languages And consequently, we are not sure about the historicity of these scriptures in the book. You go to Old Testament and you find the same story given by the Jewish scholars. No one claims to carry the tablets Sayyidina Musa brought from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same is story with New Testament and many other scriptures. The Quran tells us and specifies by saying, Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, in the night of power, which you know, which is historic, which is tangible, which you can discover by research. It is in this night of power the Quran has been revealed in the month of Ramadan. Therefore in Surah Al-Baqarah it says, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. This is the month of Ramadan in which the Quran was revealed. And Surah Al-Qadr specifies it further. In the month of Ramadan, in which period? In the early period, in the middle of Ramadan, in the end of Ramadan. When was it revealed? So the Quran comes and tells us Laylatul Qadr, and Hadith comes and specifies and tells us Laylatul Qadr is only in the last 10 odd days. Last 10 days, and out of that only odd days, which means 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th or 29th night of the Ramadan. That's making it very historic, very pointed, very specific, not leaving it to our wild imagination. Why the Quran calls this night of power or destiny? We find again our scholars providing us plenty of information. And among those are scholars who say that it refers to destiny because it is in this night Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala determines what things will take shape for His creation. And therefore He sends down groups of angels with the messages, with the decisions, with the decrees, and they go and implement those decrees based on decisions done during this night. And for that, they refer to the other ayah in the Quran, in Surah Ad-Dukhan, which is 44th Surah, ayah number 4, which says, فِيهَا يُفْرَقُ كُلُّ أَمْرٍ حَكِيمٍ, whereupon every wise command is made clear. Here we find Surah Ad-Dukhan referring to what is meant by Qadr or destiny, what is meant by decision making by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other interpretation is that this refers to the night of destiny in the sense of changing the destiny of humanity. That this was an epoch-making moment. It was a historic time when the movement of humanity, the movement of human thought, the movement of human understanding, the personality of man, the nature of society, the nature of future political system, future economic system, future social system was given a new shape. And that's what makes it a night of power, and all this was done because of the Quranic revelation. Again, we come to the next point. What makes it unique? The Quran tells us what makes it unique is that this night is more powerful, more important, more than the strength of 1,000 months. Does not mean that this one night is equal to a mathematical power of 83 years and 4 months. It only means that in the Arabic language, when it is said it is equal to 1,000 or 10,000 or 1 million, or as you find in some modern languages, a phrase, this is worth $62 million, does not mean exactly $62 million, but means that it is extremely important. What makes this night unique is first and foremost the descent of the Quran, that the message which carries guidance for the whole of humanity was sent down. Secondly, what makes it unique and strong is that during this night, the whole of universe observes a new phenomena, and that phenomena is universalization of the message. The message contained in the Quran and contained in earlier revelations, calling humanity to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was earlier very much limited to a people, to a nation, to a region, to a territory. But with the descent of the Quran, the message became universal. And for the first time, the whole of humanity. So the Quran says, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنُ هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ. It is hidayah for the whole of humanity. It is going to differentiate between what is truth and untruth. It's going to declare what is going to be the destiny of humanity. How human beings can play an active role. How they can change their own lives and change this world around. How they can bring a society based on justice, a society based on proper understanding of humanity. Therefore, we find the Quran referring to it as a night which is equal to more than 1,000 months. What could be achieved in 1,000 months by the whole of humanity has been given to humanity by the head of humanity in one single night. What you could not discover by collective efforts for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, has been given in one single instance, with one stroke of pen, with one single declaration by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole of humanity. Therefore, it makes it unique, it makes it something different. Lastly, we find the impact. After historicity, we look into its uniqueness and then we come to its impact. The impact is enormous. It is not simply a book. It's not simply a matter of a scripture, but it is a code of life. Therefore, it provides a new world view. It provides humanity with a new approach in life. A worldview refers to our understanding of our existence in this universe. How do we look toward universe, toward humanity, toward the Creator? When we refer to these three basic aspects, we call it worldview. What is important for us in our life? What has more priority? What is more important for us in our personal behavior, in our collective behavior? So first thing, or first impact, that it provides a completely changed or new worldview. Secondly, it provided basis for human conduct and behavior on ethics. A new ethic, a new morality, a new set of rules for conduct. Thirdly, it provides a new framework of human relations. With myself, with my parents, with my wife, with my children, with my neighbor, with those who are opposed to me, who take an attitude of enmity, who don't like me. How should I behave with them? Should I behave toward them with same approach of hatred? Should I go and kill them if they want to kill me? Or I take a different approach towards human beings? The Quran provides a completely different understanding of interpersonal or human relationships. It told us that history is not a downward movement. You find whether it is Christianity, whether it is Judaism, or many other religions, they look on history as if the end is being approached by way of a downhill movement. The Quran provided a new approach in history and told us, so long as you are going to follow the injunction, the guidance of the Quran and Sunnah, you can never go downhill. You will always be climbing and climbing with ease, not with discomfort. But if you are going to disregard the Quranic message, then no one can stop you from going down the hill. It gave an ethical and moral view of history as compared to the cyclical, biological or mechanical view of history which exists with so many scholars and so many philosophers of history. Fifthly, it provides a methodology for social change. How to bring change in society. The impact is on society. The impact is not simply on individuals. While you find majority of scriptures, they focus their attention on the individual. Therefore, the definition of religious man in so many of world religions is a person who leaves his wife and family, who leaves worldly belongings and wealth, who leaves personal comfort and just retires into a forest, into a cubicle, into a monastery and remains there for most of his life. This is what they regard as the highest ideal. Islam focuses on society. Not that you become a monk, a mystic, and withdraw from society, but you be a vibrant agent in society. You be an active agent in society. You be a carrier of message in society, and consequently transform and change the movement of history. One should not wait for some miracles to happen when suddenly one nice morning you have everything in order. No, it is the human being who has to follow ethical and moral code in order to change the society and change the substance of his own personality. Consequently, it gives us image of a new human being. Not just a male, not just a female, but a human being, a total human being, a total personality, not dominated by pure masculinity, not dominated by pure femininity, but a total human being, where these two aspects of human life are fully balanced, incorporated, and integrated. Next, it provides the schemes for a new society, where it is not classes, where it is not races, where it is not color, which is going to be the criteria. It's not the white man's culture or the black man's culture. It's not that everything which is black is beautiful and not everything which is white is noble. But it's a matter of new society where social stratification, classes don't exist, but differentiations exist. Where human beings discover a new dimension in life. They don't categorize themselves as Brahmins, as Kshatriyas, as Vaishyas, as Shudras. They don't call themselves as the noble, the gentry, the middle class, the lower middle class, the blue collar, the laborers, the downtrodden, the slaves. Not the Greek classification, where you have the nobles, the rulers, the soldiers, and the slaves. It's a completely new understanding of society, where neither gender, nor color, nor race is the basis, but essentially doing virtuous deeds. That's why it says, Amal Khair, doing good in this night, is not comparable with doing good for 1,000 months. Therefore, when you are doing ibadah in this night, which is the night of destiny and power, it gives you this understanding and message. It's not a magical act, but it's an act of understanding. When we understand the Quran with these aspects of its impact, we discover a new world of meaning. Not just literal translation, not just standing and reciting a few ayahs, but trying to grasp and understand the meaning. What makes it so strong? What makes it so strong is this impact which has to appear, which has appeared, and which will appear on human beings when they go to the book with proper approach, with proper understanding, with proper planning and intention on their part. Next, it provides a scheme of new legal system. A legal system which is not regarding every criminal as criminal. A legal system which looks toward human beings as essentially good, unless it's proven they are wrong. All legal systems of the world begin with the approach that a person is criminal unless he proves or she proves not guilty. Islamic approach is anyone accused of anything is essentially a free person. It's your job to come forward and prove the person is wrong. Only then we will accept the person as criminal. A new understanding of law. Therefore, giving birth to a new philosophy and a new application of legal system. A new economy, which is not based on exploitation of the needy. Therefore, the person who needs money and comes to you and seeks assistance in the secular systems of the world, in the so-called competitive systems of the world, the money lender comes up with a controlling hand and tells the person, you are needy, I'm going to fulfill your need, but with a very small provision, and that provision is you have to pay me an interest. And you find it's not a matter of individual, it's a matter of nation. In my country, every child born is born with a debt because of the so-called global organizations, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Development Bank, and so on and so forth. All those institutions which claim they are helping the so-called developing countries essentially exploit them, essentially make them more and more crippled, more and more economically subject to their own desires and will. And therefore, the impact of this event of Night of Power is it gives a new order for economy. It gives a new political system which is not based on the authority of certain nations over others, not the global policeman who has to monitor activities of all other nations and impose on them what they want to be done, but a new political system where people are provided with all possible rights and obligations. That's what makes this event of the Quranic revelation not only unique, not only historic, not only important, but in terms of its impact, its role in history, its role and purpose for humanity. A very simple footnote at the end: how to celebrate this? Is it simply by way of standing vigil all night? Is it simply by reciting some Quranic ayat? Or is it by following the method of the Quran and Sunnah? The Sunnah tells us, if someone is awake whole night, in the night of power, searching for it, then all his or her sins are absolved. And this person becomes an extremely blessed person. But is it just a matter of staying awake, or is it a matter of recharging the battery of Iman, reviewing our understanding, coming up with new approach in life, coming up with new resolution in life, coming up with new strategy and program for ourselves? If we look in the Quran, the emphasis is not simply on ritual, but emphasis is on the amal khair, doing something consciously, actively, by participation. Consequently, it has to be observed in the manner that we look into the meaning of the Quran, the message of the Quran, the impact of the Quran, by examining ourselves how far we have been able to translate this message in our individual and collective life, by trying to evaluate what strategies and plans we have for the future to make this world a society based on social justice, a society based on mutual understanding. What are our plans and strategies for changing our own lives, our families, and our society? If we take that approach, then this night becomes a night of blessing. It becomes a night of power, because the power you draw from it cannot be compared with any material power. The resolution you draw from it cannot be compared with any other energy. The understanding you get, the vision you develop from it, cannot be compared with any wisdom you draw by reading the classics of Plato, but only by relating ourselves with the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us opportunity to benefit from these odd nights during the last 10 days of Ramadan, the 21st, which falls tonight, the 23rd, the 25th, the 27th and 29th, which is the last night of the Ramadan. If any questions or observations, please feel free to come up with your comments.
these various nights, say 21st, 23rd, and so on. Why do they have these things? They want to keep us in suspense, or is it more for worship and ritual?
It was very simple for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to declare the Quran was revealed on the 27th night of the Ramadan. And that will make it much more specific, much more easier. But the purpose of the night of power is, when you have lived Ramadan for over 20 days, you have been able to create an atmosphere, an approach in your life. You have been able to tame yourself, your ego, your personality, your mind. You have been able to train your vision, your audition. What should you see, what you should not see. What should you eat, what you should not eat. How should you take rest, how you should not take rest. For 20 days you have been doing it. Now is the time to make it more concentrate. To make it more concentrate, either you achieve it in one night or you achieve it in odd nights in the last 10 days. Since the approach of the Quran is gradual. The Quran is for human beings, and human beings require a gradual approach. Therefore, the Quran would like to divide this effort not in one night, but in several nights. If for one reason a person is unable to achieve this blessing on 21st night, fall sick, has some problem, cannot stay awake, still there is a chance to catch it in 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. If someone has not been able to develop proper resolution, proper commitment, proper confirmation of faith on 21st night, let it continue on 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. In other words, by spreading it and not specifying, the Quran has made it specific, yet not pointed. Specific in odd nights. So, again providing you a kind of balance. If you are awake 21st night, take rest on 22nd. If you are awake 23rd, take rest on 24th. Don't be a monk, but be a human being. A total human being balances between extensive effort as well as a relaxed atmosphere. If you put your body in enormous stress, it will take it, but it's bound to protest in a language you may not understand. I am told for my own self that my migraines are due to my perfectionist approach in certain matters. And when I exceed, the body protests and says no more. If you don't want, we paralyze you, you have to stay in pain and take rest. You could do it yourself without this torture. You never listen. So we give you a more harsh lesson. Our body has its own language. And therefore, the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowing more about us, will not put us in enormous stress. The Quran says, ad-deenu yusr. Deen is easiness. The Quran says, we have made all this message very comprehensible for you. And therefore, it will not like us to achieve all those benefits in one single night. Therefore, we find the companions usually praying throughout last 10 days in the odd night, though there are a number of statements by companions, including Umar bin al-Khattab and a few others, Abu Hurairah for example, who say that most probably, rather they are sure, it was on 27th night that the Quran was revealed. It began, or first revelation. But the purpose of the statement here is not to give a specific date, but to persuade us to search for truth, for guidance, understanding, and that can be done better when it's not one single night, but several odd nights. Any other question? Yes, brother?
My understanding is that the last 10 days, fortnight, it's like a resolution of a Muslim. Make it fine-tune yourself for next. Or what should we do actually? What we should do? Yes. Maybe we do training or reading the Quran or wake up at night. What do we do?
Yes. Jazakallah khair. Searching in the night means, firstly, the person is not sleeping. Secondly, the person is searching where the power and strength is to be acquired from a source. What is the source? The source is Quran al-Kareem. Therefore, searching in the Quran. How? Searching in the Quran by way of reciting it when we are making prayer. Therefore, Sahaba will like to recite larger portions of the Quran during their late night voluntary prayer during these odd nights. If someone has not memorized the Quran, listening to Quran. If you cannot read the Quran in Arabic, you can always acquire cassettes which have Quranic recitation. Switch on the cassette and listen to it during your privacy in night. Listen to it and think over it. Listen to it and look into the meaning. So grasping, understanding what the reciter is saying, what is the message. And that cannot be done simply in one night. You need several odd nights. So if you want to go over and look into the Quran from cover to cover or some portions of the Quran, you don't have to pressurize yourself in one single night, but in all odd nights in last 10 days. By remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His most beautiful name. Therefore the Quran says, and call Him by His most beautiful name. For Him are the most beautiful names. The Quran has given us more than 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which stand for His attributes, stand for His qualities. And when we recite a name, He is Ar-Rahim, He is Ar-Rahman, He is Al-Aziz. We try to grasp and understand the meaning of this attribute. If He is Ar-Rahim and He is forgiving us every moment, when we are forgetful, when we don't obey Him, and He still forgives us, should we have the attitude of not forgiving our friends, our relatives, our brothers and sisters, our children? Understand the meaning, grasp the meaning. So it's not simply standing in prayer, but it is relating ourselves with the Quran. This is the opportunity where we have to relate ourselves more and more with the Quran. By reading the Quran, listening to Quran, reciting the Quran, looking into its meaning, calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with beautiful names, and all this is done by the companions during these last odd nights of 10 days. So this is given by hadith very clearly how we should do it. Not by just making a feast, not by just illuminating the city, not by just calling some people to make a lecture and then we sleep all night, but by our involvement and participation, relating ourselves with Quran al-Karim. Is that clear, brother? Any other question? From sisters? Yes?
Second is what the expensive experience that we can get, and thirdly is what we should do after we experience.
Yeah, thank you very much. Religious experience is not an experience which can be easily discovered, captured and narrated. When you are seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, say for example, you enter Haram Kaaba with a desire, I am here to surrender, please forgive me. I'm sure millions of Muslims go with this intention, but everyone experiences differently. Some, as soon as they see the black curtain of Kaaba, their eyes start tearing, flowing. Some start shivering. Some just feel that they are in a state of peace. Some feel in a state of awesomeness, strength. Now there cannot be one single phenomena to be used as a measure, did I discover the night or not? There can be various indicators for various individuals, but it is not the matter of capturing it, it's a matter of experiencing it. When you are trying your best and you have a feeling, I have been heard, I have been forgiven, then you have got it. Now, how to keep this spirit alive? Hadith tells us that you keep this spirit alive by observing either 3 fasts every month, which is 13, 14 and 15 of the lunar calendar, cited by moon, or every Monday and Thursday of the week, 3 days or 8 days in a month by factor. The Quran says, "Fatahajjad," keeping it alive by devoting one night in a week, one night in a month, one night in a 2 weeks, one night alternatively, or whatever is convenient for the individual, to stay awake whole night, part of it, half of it, last part of it. If you wake up for Fajr, wake up 1 hour earlier and make a few rak'ah, a few units of salat as tahajjud, as nafil. This is what will keep the spirit of Laylatul Qadr alive for the whole of year. Therefore, Ramadan is the training ground for the ongoing process, which has to be done either 3 days of a month or 8 days of a month in the prescribed manner of the Sunnah. And Sunnah says, don't go beyond it. Do either 3 or 8. But don't make it an ongoing Ramadan for you throughout the year. That is condemned by the Sunnah. Sunnah says, no, we don't want you to have fasting for the whole year, but fasting for 1 month to prepare you for an ongoing process